Problem is, if you heard my last name, Sanchioni, there's a vowel at the end of my name, so I can't stand still. That's just the way it is, right? And that's how we move. And I realize you've been here since 9 o'clock in the morning, and we're your last presenters. And so, going to presenter school, I've learned two very important things. When you're last, be interesting, and secondly, make sure you end early. So we're going to try to do both and make sure we're as interesting as possible. First of all, I want to commend everyone in the room here for just being here. I mean, showing incredible dedication to your district and to the students that you care for. And I know you've learned a lot about policies and procedures today. But what we're going to speak to you about is the most important thing you do, the mission and why you're a school committee member or an administrator, student achievement and the advancement of student academics. And see, in Tiverton, we've achieved unprecedented results in our science programs and our CTE programs. And so we want to show you how we've done that and make you curious about that and see if that's something that may benefit your students in your district. And especially CTE, right? Because CTE now is the big thing in Rhode Island, right? We're all competing for students. Students can go to different districts. So as advanced as our programs are, as competitive as our programs, as attractive as our programs are, is a way to retain your own students, but also maybe attract other students. So one of the people who are going to speak with me today, she's writing over there, is Lee Cusimano. And Lee is our science department chair. She's our CTE director. She's our teacher of the year. She's currently Rhode Island's teacher of the year finalist, one of 3. No, you can't have her. Lee's staying in Tiverton. I keep telling her that. But Lee's the kind of teacher you want to have in your classrooms. But when Lee talks about our CTE programs, she's going to enlighten you into how, again, we've made them super attractive, how we've really advanced them in a way that our students want to be in those programs, but they're mastering the content in there at unprecedented levels. So that's a huge claim that I'm making. So there's Lee, there's myself, and then the program that we use, the technology that's helping us get to these results is called Zspace. And so 2 of my colleagues here today, Ashley Lupikinaki, right? Close. Lupinacci, right. And Brenda Berraby are going to talk to you a little bit about that technology. I should get that on. Get a vowel at the end of your name. Oh, all right. All right, so we want to show you the impact it's had on academic achievement, most important thing we're all in this room for. We're going to show you what Zspace is. It's AR, VR. So let's talk about that real quick. The generation of students in our school is like any other generation who's ever come to school before, right? They grow up with iPhones and iPads in their hands at birth. And they come to school, and then we expect them to sit there and maybe listen to a lecture or watch something board. Nothing's wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. But if we're not using technology to engage our kids at this level, at this time, in space and time, we're doing them a disservice. So we're going to show you how we do that. Important thing about this, standards-based instruction, competencies, workforce readiness, that's what we're all after. But the important thing is no teacher wants an add-on, wants something that they have to fit into their curriculum. It just doesn't work, right? What Zspace does, it is the curriculum. If you're teaching the digestive system, Zspace matches to that standard. Whatever standard is in chemistry, anatomy, physiology, biology, algebra, or any of our CT programs, it matches perfectly to this technology, which makes it really easy and teacher-friendly. And then we'll engage you folks in some discussions about maybe how it might impact your district. Zara, just hit it again. All right, little video, I guess.
AP Biology, if you know how AP works, AP is a standard curriculum and a test that's set a year in advance where the entire country takes that test. So kids in Tiverton or kids in Natick, or if you're in Arizona or California, you're going to take that AP Bio test on May, whatever. So there's a lot of standardization to it. And the beauty of that is the only factor then is the students. So we had started to track our AP Bio scores, so the only thing that changed was Zspace was inserted as part of the learning community, part of the learning project. And all of a sudden we started to see these huge jumps. And when I say jumps, AP Bio, all AP tests are scored on a 1 to 4 scale. 3 and 4 are the levels we want our students to get to. A lot of times they can get college credit for that, and our 3s and 4s started to creep up. And there's a lot of things that correlate to student success, but when the only thing that changes is you adding Zspace. It sort of drew a direct line to us that this works.
Hey, so I made a claim. Tiverton students are learning science and CT classes at unprecedented levels, right? Well, here you go. Here's our NGSA scores. Our class of 2019 was a strong class, but you can see we typically average the amount of kids who are proficient or advanced 35%, 38%, somewhere in there. But you can see the last 2 years, those gray bars, how they've spiked. And we expect the bar for 2025 to also spike. And again, you heard in the video, and it's the point that I'm trying to make, there's a correlation, right? If your teachers don't change, if your curriculum doesn't change, if everything's the same in the classroom, and the only variable you've put in is a new technology, and your scores jump, well, now we can start making that correlation and say, hey, this is actually making a difference. Okay, this is our AP Bio scores. And you can see that, again, we had a strong class down there, but then 3 years in a row where our scores are really flat, not too good. These are the number of students you get a 3, 4, or 5, right? And if you're taking an AP class, you want to always get a 3, potentially you can get college credit for that. But then you see the last 2 years, we've got these huge gains. And we expect the gains to be the same in 2025. Chemistry. So our students weren't doing well in chemistry at all. Look at the first 4 bars. And then all of a sudden we insert a technology and our students are off the charts. Now our students aren't different than your students, you know, and I'm sure our teachers are just as talented as your teachers. So again, if the only variable is adding in a technology that engages students at very high levels, allows them to take apart a dissection, take apart the heart, to see a math equation come to life in 3D fashion, at the same time it is the content you want them to know and be able to do, this is what's making a difference. And as I said in the video, AP, right? The AP chemistry test is always in May. Tiverton kids take it with the Cranston kids, with the Pawtucket kids, the Portsmouth kids, wherever you're from. We all take it on the same day. Your teachers teach the same curriculum. Your teachers are trained the same way. So one thing changes, is what we have. So we're going to move past that, and I'm going to give you a little more insight and call upon my colleague Ashley here to come up and tell you about this technology and show you a little bit about it and how it's really helping students learn at very high levels.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. Okay, so I think we probably have a pretty good sense right now about where this kind of AR, VR is showing up in our everyday, in our classrooms, potentially in our communities. But starting on the right-hand side, or your left-hand side, we are looking at the virtual reality component, right, of technology in classrooms. So for a show of hands, how many people are seeing the VR headsets or anything that you're wearing on your face to enhance learning in their school communities right now? Oh, that's a mixed reality. Okay, but yeah, so this kind of AR, VR, mixed reality landscape that's happening out there. Would anybody be brave enough to share who has a headset? I saw a hand over here. Yes? Okay, and when you're experimenting with the headsets and behind that virtual immersive reality, where is it taking you? What are you doing with it? I know it's experimental. Okay. Okay, well, a lot of times what we're seeing in that virtual reality headspace is that it's that fully immersed experience. We're able to go in behind the headset and travel maybe across the world and do a virtual headset. My favorite experience that I've had on a virtual headset, quite frankly, is I hate public speaking. And you can literally immerse yourself in front of a crowd and practice and rehearse public speaking through the headsets, right? Like, I like that type of a reality. So that's where we live in that virtual reality space. Skip over Zspace for a second and move into that augmented reality world. And where are we living here? Where have we seen this the most? Can anyone throw a hand up and say where they might be seeing augmented reality today? Personal or in school? Okay, yeah.
I see it at my work.
What do you see?
Well, we actually have it at my work.
Oh.
So we do, I do HR tech, people in how to have difficult conversations, things like that.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you for sharing. Something that I did this month in an augmented way was I purchased glasses on iBuyDirect.com, and I was able to essentially see my reality with an augmented image on my face to decide which glasses were going to look best on my face. Did I win? Okay, thank you very much. So that type of augmented reality where we're able to really virtually put in place something that is not real, it's augmented, but in your actual real environment, right? Pokemon Go, I'm totally like not a part of this community, but I know it's a strong community, but that would be an example also of an augmented reality that's happening out there. So we're seeing it in the adult world, we're seeing it in the world of kids, right? Or just learners at every level. And what Zspace is doing is it's taking the elements of that fully immersed VR experience and bringing in that augmented reality where you can really actually collaborate around this device and start to learn and build upon concepts together in 3D, building on your comprehension and retention in 3D while you're learning. So that's a little bit about that mixed reality component, which is Zspace. And I should actually add, and I'm not reluctant anymore to do this, but there is an AI component of Zspace as well. And as we dig deeper into this at maybe another point, we can really learn about some of the software that supports educator-focused, education-focused, barriered, geolocated AI, where you are able to navigate careers and speak to this AI software in a way where you're exploring what you're working on and asking questions about career pathways as well. So here we are. This kind of sums that up. What is Zspace? Zspace is combining elements of AR and VR and AI to create lifelike experiences that are immersive and interactive. And why is this important? Zspace is creating, as Peter's describing, the student experiences that really meet them where they are, right? Because at home, maybe, they love video games or anything that is going to kind of ramp up to that level of engagement that helps them to be excited by what they're looking at. So we're really inspiring, engaging, and connecting with learners for who they are today and what is actually going to take them out of their wherever they are and into their learning space in a way that really says, we're here for you, we want to help you learn today. Next, that's me. Okay, so real quick, has anybody seen this acronym before? It supports AR VR learning. It's called DICE. Show of hands for anyone who's heard of this. Okay, so why is it, what are we doing differently? Like, what is AR VR mixed reality actually doing? It's allowing students and educators to do things that are otherwise dangerous, impossible, counterproductive, or expensive or rare. I kind of sometimes like to think about like if somebody had put a tool in my hand in like middle school or high school and they were like, all right, take about this car engine, right? It would have been incredibly dangerous. There would be nothing that I could do to actually, except for stand there and look at it. But that's one of those danger zones where students are able to enter into a world where they feel comfortable exploding a car engine or things of that nature. Impossible things like seeing through the human heart, really being able to dissect and open it right there in front of them. And I love these head nods. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Or counterintuitive and expensive. I mean, those things are obvious in the classroom every single day. So that is what the technology is here to do, is allow us to do things that we would otherwise maybe not be able to do and scale that across different subject areas and pathways. There's a video that explained that. Okay. Should I keep going or play it? Did I crush it? Okay. Okay. Is this me touching it? Yeah. What? No, I can't do this. I clearly do not teach or... All right, I just want to go this way. Perfect. This is where we are. So Zspace itself is in over 500 school districts across the country. It's also a little bit international as well. But this is where we are. This is where students are, and look at how focused and hyper-focused we are in this area of the country, which is awesome. But this is where we're living. It's growing. The technology is growing. The communities are growing. The learning opportunities through Zspace and AR, VR, mixed realities are growing. All right, so this is just a little question to leave you with. I kind of asked some of these questions, but do you currently have plans for AR, VR in your instructional resources within your school communities? And what I would really want to think about based on the show of hands that I got earlier is ask you to think about, where were you a few years ago when you first learned about AR, VR, and where are you now in terms of how you think it can impact the learning that is being had on students as students are learning today? Thank you so much. I was not behind VR goggles, and I am okay with that. You guys have been great.
So 2 roles I have at Tiverton High School. One is I am the CT coordinator, and during that time period, we've added 7 programs. So we have carpentry, engineering, plant science, CNA, visual arts, public safety, and we also have computer science as well. We have 7 programs all highly embedded into the Zspace experiences. And as we have that, it basically has increased the amount of students that were coming to our school learning those hands-on experiences. Our CNA scores, we have 100% of our students who go into our CNA program graduate with a CNA license, and they're able to get that because of the public safety, because of the Zspace programs. We also have a criminal justice system CNA program as well as that, and our Zspace basically runs through that and does a great, nice job. As you look at the scores, what our Zspace has done is had a tremendous impact directly with the scores in which we have. So students basically are learning quite a bit. If you saw some of the students in some of the earlier videos, if you saw the video, it was just me talking. But those students all went on to higher end schools. One of the students there went on to Rochester Polytech Institute. Another student right now is pursuing nursing here at URI, and she's gotten all the basics because of Zspace. If you purchase or get involved in any of the Zspace products, there's one over here you'll see, there's a couple of kinds you can get. The ones that we have here at Tiverton go all the way back for our 6th graders up to our 12th graders. We use Inspires. There's no glasses involved. You basically stand there and you can switch between 2D or 3D, so you can actually have stuff come out of the actual screen for you. The support systems here at Zspace are incredible. So if you have, like we do a lot with visual body, that's what they were referring to, is you actually take a heart, you pull it right out of the screen, you can dissect it, and the students could actually dissect the heart and see all the different parts of it, the ventricles, the aorta, and they can understand how that's going in live time. Those are one particular things. We work very closely with Sheena Shoemaker, who will meet with you either in person or virtually. So the support system for Zspace comes with your purchases, and it also supports you all the time. We also have a lot of other people that come in and give trainings and make sure that all your faculty and staff is ready for that, so it isn't something you're left without that. The machines are there for your lifetime. In our other programs, our engineering and our carpentry programs, we have something called all-in-ones, in which those basically have, as we said earlier, the motor comes directly out of the actual machine. You're able to dissect it. In our carpentry program, we actually build a house prior to actually building the actual product. So we have a lot of chances to do that earlier in the process than actually just having the wood and having people just hammer in and put stuff together. Basically, it's an excellent product, and it's really transformed our CNA programs, all of our CT programs, and our science department has been exalted forward for the state. That's it.
Hi, my name's Brenda Barabee. I just want to say I am so happy to be here. Been 12 years in Florida, but originally from this area, so when they ask who wants to raise a hand and come, I'm like, I need to visit family and have some good food. Just to share with you a little bit about my background, I started teaching in 1989. I really wish there was an easy way of saying this without showing my age. Taught in Coventry High School for 2 years. moved on to Fall River, moved on to UMass, was a professor in UMass Dartmouth in hematology, immunology. Then the chancellor said there's this word called STEM. So that's where the age kind of shows, because the chancellor said, hey, you're a teacher and you know how to teach, and you're also a professor, but you know this instrumentation automation, and we have this word STEM and nobody knows what it is. Come chair the STEM education department. So I was the founding chair for 10 years at UMass Dartmouth, the STEM education department. Moved down to Florida, and I was like, they were just starting with STEM. I'm like, hey, I'm from New England. Like, we already got it down. We already knew what STEM was. We had business and industry coming in. And so I jumped in, worked in there in the career and technical education for quite a few years, and I jumped in with Lockheed Martin, EA Games, and Disney to help build education programs for those school districts in Central Florida. And then now, I just get to travel around, help, whether it's education leaders, whether it's teachers, whether it's coaches, talk about MTSS, talk about technology, talk about integration, and just say, what do you have that you want to bring to scale? Who's your champion teacher that has some best practices? Let's integrate the technology so they can have back their time to then help the other teachers or to pull out and to differentiate, okay? So I help with Zspace and I support any of the type of implementation. I go around and I just say, how are you implementing Zspace? So I love that someone raised their hand and said, we have Zspace. That's what I love, because I'm like, let me in. And I just get to go in and have me talk to your principal, talk to your teacher, talk to your career coaches, talk to everyone, and just say, how is it that we can help take what you're doing, put it in the hands of kids, so this way the teachers that are your best teachers can help mentor the other teachers and move the others along. So that's what I do. One thing I love is that we do everything from elementary level all the way secondary, post-secondary, all to career and technical education at the college level, university and medical school. Okay? So we have conversations, we have resources all the way from STEM, career, technical, and workforce development. And so if you're talking about Perkins Grant, you're talking about secondary Perkins, post-secondary Perkins, you're having conversations about workforce, WIA, apprenticeships, pre-apprenticeships. I like to listen to you and then say, what is it that we have that you already have, and how can I help you leverage or implement it in your activities and in your classroom? How many of you have dissected things? How many of you have gone on field trips? Okay, can I tell you something? Somebody asked me, give me the research behind Zspace, and I stopped and I said, okay, so do you remember what you dissected? Do you remember your field trip, and do you remember your science fair project? And everybody, no matter how old they are, they always remember that. I don't know why. I've had people come up to me and be like, I can never eat a lobster again because you had me dissect a crayfish. I could never eat a clam boil again because you had me dissect the clam and look at the intestines, like adults, okay? So if you think that those are the most impactful memories out of all your school experiences. You weren't turned on by a worksheet, right? It was, so think about it. Zspace has the opportunity where you have models, and the models can be taken apart and put together again. So they're dissecting. If you're in the auto tech class, you take apart an engine, you put it together. You take it apart, put it together. HVAC, you take it apart, put it together. Again, vivid science, you're taking a frog, you're taking it apart, put it together. So that same brain that is used when you were a student dissecting things that was lasting impact is in fact taking that same impact, okay? You built things, you had a science fair project. So in here, you have Tinkercad, you have resources. If you have any 3D printers in your class, you can take those 3D printers, the kids can manipulate and build things and build projects before you're spending the money on the 3D printer, okay? Same thing as when you did a science fair project. And then the last part is those real world experiences, just like field trips. Same brain, turning on to go on a field trip. Students will remember taking their product and immersing it into an environment, and again, that same long-lasting impact. So you can go onto zspace.com, you can look at the research papers. I always just call people out. Do you remember what you dissected? Do you remember a field trip? You remember something you had to build? Students right now do not have those opportunities to do science fair projects. Again, I use that term democratizing access. I had a teacher say to a student, go home and when you sit at your table, do this. And he goes, Miss, we don't have a table. Okay, because down in Florida, they live in the hotels, a lot of them. So again, use technology to democratize opportunities for those students, I see there's no other way for those students to be able to dissect things, you know, the expenses, the time. So if you want, you can go on Zspace.com, you can read about all the research, but it's the same type of experience, that excitement, that long-lasting impact, making connections. Looking at a cell 8 different ways, so this way if the picture on the standardized test does not have the picture of the cell the same way, they're gonna get it wrong, okay? So think about any type of integrated technology you have. If it doesn't do those 3 things and turn them on, then you need to get another resource to make sure you have all those 3 things for that student, okay, to empower your teachers. So the other part, of course, is make sure that whatever activities are being engaged with, they have to be aligned to your standards or aligned to competency skills in your CTE. What I like to do is both. I like to have the CTE teachers take some activities, and we also crosswalk them with your standards. Because if a carpentry teacher has the opportunity to be able to take something and also impact one of your math standards, then I'm going to take that activity, make sure they give them an activity online to build something that's also impacting math. So everything is aligned with the Common Core or aligned with your state standards. Okay? And this is just showing you how all of our activities are aligned with the industry credentials. You can go on Zspace and look at the blueprints. Again, we have to make sure we're accountable for what is happening and every single bit of time. I don't care if they're excited, if good learning's not taking place, if it's not impacting a skill, or if it's not impacting a learning standard, then they're just having fun, and we have to make sure that those teachers know that there's opportunities that they can turn them on, but it has to be aligned with academic impact or skills. And then Ashley mentioned this, we also have Career Coach AI. You might have guidance counselors right now, or you're trying to, if you're at the middle school, you're trying to excite them about the high school. If you're at the high school, you're trying to excite them about the secondary and post-secondary experiences. Most teachers went from their college classroom into their own classroom. So they don't understand the new career opportunities that are aligned with what it is they're teaching. So Career Coach AI is actually a closed-out AI system where it just sits on the desktop, and so a student can ask, how much money can I make being a welder? And what it does is it geo-targets where you're at, and it only answers the questions for in your area or in Rhode Island. So it will ask a question, and it will also answer the question at the lexile level of the student. So if an elementary student is asking a question, and also it's closed in, and it will ask and answer in a different language as well, in their native language. So if you have guidance counselors going out there, Career Coach AI is used to empower them. And these are all the different supportive languages that the Zspace applications have. So for example, if you have students learning science, you can change the platform where the directions are in their native language. So this way you're knowing that they're just learning it for the science, that it's not a barrier for them to perform the activity. And so these are the different languages that are support. So the takeaways are this. Integrated technology, I see, my litmus test of whether it should be integrated into any classroom is it has to, again, inspire, empower, provide opportunities to give the teacher back the time where they can then have the students, pull the students out, modify, change the activity, but also it needs to make a lasting impact on those students, and then let them see the relevancy. Relevancy, whether it's content knowledge or a skill. So I hope this helps you understand a little bit about whether it's, you know, again, we're talking about Zspace, but any technology, I'm sure all of you want to have these same questions in your head when you're making your choices. I hope this helps a little going forward. And if you have any questions, please reach out. If you already have Zspace, reach out. I'm happy to have conversations, whether at the school level, your coaches, or your school leaders, and we can have Peter just share a little more.
Well, not much more. So I said we'd be interesting. I said we'd do our presentation a lot quicker and hopefully achieve both goals. But you know, how does the superintendent get himself in trouble? Anyone know? Probably a lot of reasons, right? But when his colleague introduces his 2 school committee members and he forgets to do that. So again, shout out to Diane and Jocelyn, my 2 favorite school committee members. Of course, if the other 3 ever hear that, I never said that. No, they're awesome. It's a pleasure to have them here today. So, hey, if anyone wants to come see this in action, you're welcome to send anyone down to Tiverton. You can go in our science classes. You can go into our CTE programs. Love to show it to you. We have it set up over here if you want to come experience it. I know it's been a long day, but if you want to take a look at it. And then lastly, we're all struggling with budgets right now, and I get that. So are we in Tiverton. But there is a lot of grant funding for this. We pay for most of this out of our Perkins grants, and most of the districts have that. So it's a way to bring it into your district without maybe impacting your operating budget. Thank you for being a great audience. We appreciate your time. Thanks again.